Hey guys, my name is Corey. Thanks for joining me. Today I'm going to show you the results of an investment strategy that I chose and then back tested against the S&P to see if it actually worked or not. I stuck to the only one constraint of the strategy with two alterations that just involved further screening of the initial outlying strategy. So let's take a look at those results. Alright, first let's look at the strategy I used. The strategy I used was the PEG ratio strategy that states companies that have a PEG ratio of less than 1 should be bought. The PEG ratio is very simply the PE ratio divided by the earnings per share growth annually. This tells us how much people are paying for the growth in the company, and a ratio under 1 could signify that it's undervalued. The additional constraints were taken from the original criteria, and we applied a price to earnings of less than 10 and the removal of the companies that weren't located on the efficient frontier after the first year of investment. The securities tested were all solely chosen on the PEG ratio. The other two inputs here are just simply because they make up the PEG ratio. We plotted them initially on the efficient frontier to show you how they would all do as a strategy. No other criteria was applied simply because we didn't want to dilute the results of the PEG ratio strategy. The first additional constraint was the PE ratio of less than 10. These are the companies that was left after we used that and the companies that were removed. Basically what we found was return was higher, but risk was a tiny bit higher too. The second constraint was eliminating the companies that weren't on the efficient frontier after the first year of investment, which are all indicated here by the red dots are the companies that we've eliminated. The results of the strategy were number 1 is all the securities used, 2 was only those securities with PE ratios of less than 10, number 3 was the securities selected based off the efficient frontier, and number 4 represents the S&P 500. What we can see down here is all of the strategy results outperformed on return, however, at substantially more risk. So it's all up to risk preferences. Do you consider this to work or not? Alright, after considering the data and running the analysis, my consensus is that the PEG ratio may be a good way to spot companies that are undervalued. However, I don't believe it should be used standalone. I believe you should use more traditional value metrics to determine if a company actually deserves to be bought or not. Although it did offer more return, it did it at substantially more risk. And for investors to take a larger risk, I think they're going to need more criteria to believe that this stock isn't going to go belly up on them. So, thanks for watching.